What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports. Another opening day has come and gone, and oh boy, oh Jesus Christ, the Philadelphia Phillies, after having a 5-0 lead in the bottom of the fourth inning, they presume to blow that lead, and they allow 9 runs in the bottom of the fourth. Aaron Nola hits an absolute wall, and they end up losing by a score of 11-7. The Rangers kept piling on the runs. They tack on 2 in that fourth inning. Then Robbie Grossman ties the game up, makes it 5-5. Eventually, you see, just runs piled aplenty from the Texas Rangers. Brad Miller, Bamboo Brad, former Philly, goes yard. It was just, we were having fun in the beginning. Trey Turner, Alec Boehm showing some pop. Triples back and forth. Aaron Nola for the first few innings was actually really solid. And then everything just, became not fun. It became everything just hit a wall out of nowhere. And I guess that's, the magic of opening day. You never know what you're going to get from the teams that are playing. There were some wild scores actually throughout baseball. I believe the Orioles beat the Red Sox like 10-9. And there's just a bunch of wild scores throughout. And for today, there's going to be no overreaction. There's no need for it. It's game 1 out of 162. It's a very long season for a reason. And yes, this is a game that the Phillies should have won. That is without a doubt the point there. This is a game the Phillies should have won. You had a 5-0 lead. You had your ace on the mound, Aaron Nola. Should have got the job done. That should have been basically a piece of cake. But we saw basically the good and the bad side of Aaron Nola today, especially in a guy that's, working for a new contract at the end of the season, to where the Phillies and Aaron Nola couldn't come to an agreement before the season started. Now Aaron Nola is basically going to be testing free agency and all that stuff. So, first game for that instance, maybe not the best ideal there. But, I don't know. Aaron Nola just hit a wall. I don't know how to describe it. This is basically what Aaron Nola has been his entire career. He'll put together a few innings of dominance, and then for some reason, there's just that one inning where he just hits a complete train wreck. He hits a wall, and he's just allowing runs left and right. And it feels like it's even more obvious when there's a big lead for the Phillies. When it's more of a small, 2-1 run type of lead, Aaron Nola continues to throw the dominance on the mound, but when it's that 5-run lead, that 6-run lead, that 7-run lead, for some reason it doesn't feel safe. I don't know how to fully describe it, but it just doesn't feel safe when you have that wide of a margin when Nola is on the bump. It's hard to describe, and I can't describe it because overall, I just don't know. I fully don't understand why he breaks down that badly. Was it just, opening day gas? Was he just kept in too long? Personally, I do think Rob kept him in there a little too long. The leash was a little too long there for Aaron Nola in that fourth inning. After 5-2, I would have taken him out, brought in the bullpen, and maybe Rob Thompson's management with the bullpen today definitely wasn't the best. You bring in Gregory Soto, newly acquired trade acquisition, and we see the concerns that was basically stated to us when we brought Soto in here. As I described Soto, he is the Jose Alvarado before Caleb Cotham fixed him down in AAA at the cutter, and then Jose Alvarado came back and became one of the best relievers in baseball. This is what Gregory Soto is. He is the pre-fixed Jose Alvarado. And we all knew coming into it, the command issues, the walk issues, he's all over the place. We all knew this was going to be some type of project for this pitching staff. So that's basically, we've seen it firsthand. And it's going to be up to Caleb Cotham to fix everything. So I trust him to do that. But if we're looking at this game as a whole, I would like to focus more on the positives than anything, because your offense did show up today. You scored 7 runs, majority out of, I would say, 85% of the time. Even 95% of the time. You put 7 runs on the board, you're most likely going to win that game. Sadly, this was just one of those situations where your pitching didn't show up. And Aaron Nola just, for some reason, ran out of gas at the worst possible time. There were a lot of long at-bats in that fourth inning, hung some pitches. Corey Seager just kept fouling some pitches off. kept the long at bat going, and then it just completely fell apart from there. Nola, overall, I believe he's going to be fine. This is just a bump in the road. It's game 1 of 162. He's going to be fine the rest of the way. He's going to have his starts where, like this one, where he makes you want to pull your hair out. And he's going to have his starts where he's going 8 2/3 innings, 8 innings total, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 strikeouts. You're going to see a lot of those nights from Nola as well. But for those nights, you're going to have the nights where he has that 1 inning where he just gives up a bunch of runs. He's just getting hit all around the place. We all know what Nola is in his career, and this is what he is. He's going to have his fantastic starts. He's going to have his mediocre, subpar starts. Not to this extent, but ideally, he'll have that inning where he blows up. Like I said, not to this extent, but you understand what I mean. But if we're looking around the lineup, I thought, Trey Turner, he had a triple in this game. A lot of triples, too. The Phillies had like 3 triples in this game. They were hitting extra base hits upon extra base hits so many times throughout the first couple of innings. You're thinking to yourself, you got 3 triples in the game and you lose? You lose? That's just mind-boggling. But like I said, you can't blame the offense in this one. Yeah, there were a lot of strikeouts, but still, you put 7 runs on the board, you're going to win most nights. If you're looking at the Phillies lineup overall, Trey Turner, he went 1 for 4 with a triple and an RBI. JT Realmuto, I thought he had a fantastic game. Nick Castellanos, he went 5 for 2. He had 3 strikeouts, but I thought he put nice bat on ball skills in this game. Still got to see more pop from Nick Castellanos. That's something that really needs to get going for him. Alec Bohm was fantastic today. We all knew going into spring training, we heard that he added the 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. Spring training, I thought, was really excellent for Bohm. We saw some pop in that bat. We saw some bombs. We saw some great things in spring training. But then we need to see how that was going to translate into a full regular season. How was that going to translate into a full 162 games? And the first game against Jacob DeGrom, Alec Bohm crushes one into the bullpen. He was a triple shy of the cycle. He goes 3 for 4 in this game, 3 RBIs with that huge 2-run home run to put the Phillies up 2-0 in this ball game early on. Sadly, in the case they lost, but Alec Bohm was really good today, and we got to see how this translates over the rest of the year. We saw the pop, we saw the extra base hits, we saw the power to the gap today from Bohm. We saw the ability for him to produce runs, 3 RBIs on the day. How is he going to keep this up consistently? I'm very excited to see Alec Bohm have a chance, I would say, to break out even more this year. We saw some cases last year where he broke out, that month of July that he had last year. I feel like this is a year where we can really see a breakout from Alec Bohm. Possibly even make an all-star team. I'm not going to go that far yet, but that's how much faith I have in one Alec Bohm. He was fantastic tonight. Brandon Marsh had a couple of hits in this game. He had a triple as well. He also had a hit against a left-hander, which drove in a run. Jake Cave, he went 0 for 4, but he almost had a home run. Got robbed. So that sucks. Kyle Schwarber, he went 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. There was some frustration with Kyle Schwarber because during one of his at-bats, I believe, there was like a pitch comp situation where the umpire thought Jacob DeGrom just completely, he took too long with the pitch clock, and that would have been an automatic ball. But eventually, it turned out to be a pitch com issue. They had to replace the pitch com. Instead of it being a 3-2 count, it became a 2-2 count, and then Kyle Schwarber struck out. So basically, overall, Schwarber was just very frustrated today, but overall, not worried about him whatsoever. We know when the weather gets warm, we know Kyle Schwarber is going to rake. That's basically what he is. Maybe he has a slow start to the year. You already know when that calendar turns June, he's going to start mashing the ball. Not worried about him whatsoever. Trey Turner, we showcased his speed in this game. Like I said, with the triple, he is going to strike out, though. There were some cases where he swung and missed. I believe his first at bat in the game where he swung at all 3 pitches and he struck out against Jacob DeGrom. And that's weird, too. You're thinking to yourself going into this game, you get Nola on the mound, you get Jacob DeGrom on the mound, 2 of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. And the game turns out to be an 11-7 game. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that Jacob DeGrom went 3 2/3 innings, allowed 5 earned runs, on 73 pitches. Aaron Nola goes 3 2/3 innings, 72 pitches, allows 5 earned runs. Who would have thought that when you have two of the better pitchers in Major League Baseball go up against each other? You would think that would be a pitcher's duel. It was the complete opposite. It was just raking and raking and raking and raking. Sadly, later on in the game, it was more the Rangers raking. But seriously, it was just all offense today. It's unbelievable. I was very shocked to see that, honestly. Fun in the first half. Not fun in the second half. Specifically after that bottom of the fourth inning. Looking at the rest of the bullpen, Soto struggled. He allowed 3 earned runs, 2 walks as well. Really struggled with the command. Could not get anyone out. This is all with 2 outs, by the way, in the bottom of the fourth inning, to where he couldn't get anything going for him. Connor Brogdon came in. He eventually got out of that bottom of the fourth, but he also allowed a home run in the 5th to Brad Miller. He struggled as well, allowed 3 hits and 2 earned runs. And then you go to the last half of the bullpen. Vasquez, I thought, was pretty solid. He walked 1 guy and allowed a hit, but overall he was solid on 22 pitches. Andrew Bellotti, I thought, was really sharp. He struck out 2 guys, walked 1. And Strom, basically in the bottom of the 8th inning, did his job. He's going to be pitching on Tuesday, I believe, in New York against the Yankees, but he's going to be fine. Just coming in here for a relief appearance. He struck out 1 on 16 pitches. Looked really solid overall. No need to overreact. And you're obviously going to be seeing Philadelphia fans. They have the mentality. They got the mentality of football. That's basically it. It's Eagles mentality. One game is basically the equivalent to them as 1 week in football. One game, the season's over. They're going 0-162. Aaron Nola sucks. This team sucks. This bullpen sucks. Rob Thompson's terrible. It's not that. It's not that at all. This team is going to be fine. Rob Thompson made a mistake with the bullpen management today. Okay, that's going to happen over the course of 162 games. Aaron Nola, he's going to have these starts. Not to this extent to where he's allowing 5 earned runs. I don't think the Phillies are going to be allowing 9 earned runs in an inning every single game. That's just not going to happen. It's just simply not. Aaron Nola's going to have his really good starts, and he's going to have his starts where you tear your hair out. That's just who he is at this point. He's still going to get paid regardless, but that's who Aaron Nola is. This offense, they put up 7 runs. This offense is still dynamic. I feel like the real Phillies, more what we saw today, is from the offense. I still believe their bullpen overall is much better put together than it was last season. Definitely. I know Soto struggled, Brogdon struggled, and all that stuff, but I think overall as a collective unit, the bullpen is much better. Offensively, we know what they're going to do. There are definitely some question marks surrounding the offense. What is Nick Castellanos going to be? How is Alec Bohm going to continue what he did after today? And what is Derek Hall going to be? Because he didn't record a hit in this game at all either. He did get an RBI on the ground out, but how is Derek Hall going to supplement and be that guy to replace Rhys Hoskins since he is done for the year? He had a surgery today. They say he's going to be out 7 to 9 months for his recovery. How is Derek Hall going to supplement this lineup? How much is he going to produce? I know there's a lot of people I've seen so much on social media from listening to the radio. A lot of people that are very optimistic about Derek Hall, and I don't want to tell people to not be optimistic about him. I'm just thinking to myself, like I'm hearing people think that Derek Hall's going to hit 30 home runs, going to drive in this many RBI. What does he prove to you that he's going to do that? He had a very nice sample size last year, but overall, we know Derek Hall cannot hit left-handed pitching. That is the truth. That is fact. We all know he's not going to play against left-handers. That's going to be Bohm at first base, Sosa at third. So then you got to figure out how much he's going to produce when facing those right-handed pitchers. And granted, you are going to face righties more than you face lefties. But still, how is Derek Hall going to produce? And how short is the leash with Derek Hall for Dave Dombrowski? Say if Derek Hall doesn't really produce much from April on into maybe the beginning of May. Is that enough for Dave Dombrowski to maybe pull the plug and go out onto the market and maybe find someone to go at first base in the trade market or whatever? Maybe do you pluck a CJ Cron from the Colorado Rockies? Maybe that's something that you can think of. So we got to figure that stuff out. We definitely will. I trust Dave Dombrowski with my life. I trust him to do the right thing. So we got to wait and see. Bryce Harper, he might be back earlier than you think. Maybe we're talking about, I would say maybe June. Maybe not during the All-Star break was what they were talking about. Maybe he comes back a little bit, maybe the end of June, middle of June. This team, what we saw last year, missing Harper. They know how to play under that adversity. They're not going to keep up that same winning pace that they were on last year when Thompson took over. But still, if we're thinking about just this entire roster right now, they went through the struggles last season. They know what that experience is like. Granted, now you're faced with more difficult adversity because you lost 30 home run production from Rhys Hoskins. You got to figure out how to replace that. Maybe Bohm can do that. It's not proven yet, no doubt, but he showcased you his potential in this game. Home run, double, showing that pop. We got to figure it out. And that's the one thing right now. We just got to wait and see. It's 161 games to go. There's no need to overreact about this game. No need to. Aaron Nola, he's going to have his fantastic games. He's going to have his games, I've said this many times. He's going to have his games where he makes you pull your hair out. That's who Aaron Nola is at this point. I'm not going to have the debate that whether he's a number one, number two. I'm not going to have the debate at all. He's still a really good pitcher in this league. He's going to get paid regardless. Whether it's with the Phillies, even though I do believe he's going to come back in the Phillies, Dave Dombrowski is going to extend him at one point. But to where Aaron Nola is. If Dave Dombrowski wants to go out into the market, maybe trade for another starting pitcher just to fill out the depth, because Ranger Suarez went back to Clearwater. He pitched in a simulated game, said he felt way better than he has been feeling over the past couple of weeks. So they're probably expecting him more towards the later stages of April. So once Ranger comes back, your depth will be a lot better to where you don't have to rely on Matt Strom going into the rotation. That would be much better. But overall, I don't see the need to overreact at this game. You can definitely be mad at Nola. You can definitely expect more. I'm not telling people to not be mad. I'm just saying don't overreact. That's the one thing. I can understand it. And I feel like since that, with the Rhys Hoskins haters and all that stuff, now that Rhys is gone and he's not going to be able to play, I feel like a lot of that hate is going to be a lot of that percentage of hate is going to go towards Nola. That's just me saying it right there. But yeah, you can't see this Aaron Nola. I don't think he's going to be this version of Aaron Nola. He's not going to blow up so badly to where he's allowing 5 earned runs in an inning. I just don't see that happening consistently over a course of 162 games. I just don't see that. I think at the end of the day, he's going to be fine. Zack Wheeler, he's going to be fine. Taijuan Walker, we don't know what he is yet. But overall, I think Ranger Suarez, when he comes back and he's healthy, he'll be fine. Bailey Falter, he'll be a nice, serviceable guy until maybe you can figure out consistently what to do with that 5th spot in the rotation. Whether that means Andrew Painter goes through his, rehab program to get his arm throwing back, just to hopefully, with the UCL situation, it doesn't turn into anything more serious. Because I do believe his rest and shutdown period ended today. So I do think that we'll see. We just gotta wait and see. I know I lost a little bit of train of thought right here because I got so many things going on in the background. I got Chicago White Sox, Houston Astros over here, and I got the Flyers on in the background where they're getting completely outshot in this game, but somehow this game is tied. No idea how that's possible, but this is not the Flyers recap. This is the Phillies recap. So, that's that. But yeah. 162. Well, not 161 since today ended. And maybe, maybe tomorrow the day off is a blessing. You could get that mind reset. You could say, oh, season didn't start today. It starts on Saturday now. Maybe you could do that. Some of the guys that were in the bullpen that pitched today, they get that extra day of rest. You can utilize them on Saturday. Wheeler's going to be going 4 o'clock. I believe it's against Nathan Eovaldi. So let's see what Zack Wheeler has on tape for his first start of the season. I believe it'll be better than what Aaron Nola provided today. And like I said, I do believe Nola's going to be fine at the end of the day. I do. So That's basically the bottom line on that scenario. The lineup will be fine. The lineup will produce. Trey Turner is going to be Trey Turner. He might be an MVP candidate this year. That's just how good he is. GT Realmuto, I thought he had a really good game in this one as well. Went 3 for 5. He'll continue to be the best catcher in baseball. Kyle Schwarber, once the weather gets warm, he'll start raking. Nick Castellanos really needs to have that bounce back. He needs to figure it the hell out. Bryson Stott had a single in this game. We got to figure out, how much is Bryson Stott going to progress this season. Alec Bohm, really fantastic in this game. I can't wait to see how he turns out this year. Jake Cave, he raked his way through spring training. He was really good at spring training. What is he going to be over the course of this? Is he going to be more of a platoon guy? That's what I would expect at this point. But, Schwarber was the DH. Cave played out in left field. Maybe now, you don't have Rhys. You don't have all this stuff. You can now utilize, flipping the DH a little bit. Some days Schwarber plays DH. Some days Castellanos DHs. Some days Bohm does. Some day JT does to get off his feet. And vice versa for some of these guys in the lineup. Maybe put Trey Turner at DH one day, but I doubt that's going to happen at this point. But yeah, you have a little bit more, I guess, versatility. But then, like I said, you lost that 30 home runs with Rhys. It's a lot of confusing stuff. But offensively, I feel like they're going to be fine. And eventually Bryce comes back, even though he's not going to be MVP Bryce Harper instantly. It's not going to happen like that. But overall, I think they could be fine right here. That's what I'm expecting at this point. In terms of, you talk about season predictions and everything like that, I feel like it's right for Philadelphia fans, after the run last year, to have your expectations high. My expectations are high as well. Before the Rhys Hoskins injury and everything like that, I was thinking division. I was thinking this team could compete for a division. Then Rhys goes down, you lose that production. Possibly. Who knows? Maybe they could still fight for a division. But then maybe my expectations drop down to maybe a wild card spot a little bit. So there's a lot of things that we're going to have to think about right there. In terms of, the rest of the teams in the NL East. The scheduling's a lot different this year. You're facing a lot less teams in the NL East. More basic. You're playing every team in the league now this year. More times than you would see any other time. And also, are we actually going to win a series against the New York Mets this year? Speaking of the Mets, they've been going for a lot of injuries. The Edwin Diaz injury, and now you're losing, Justin Verlander for a week. So they're going through some injury troubles right now. So we got to see how that, plays out for them. I know they got the win over the Marlins, but overall, just looking at this season, expectations, it's right to be high. My expectations are high this year. You got to get back to the playoffs. You got to find a way, even though it's insanely difficult to go to the World Series in back-to-back years. Why not this team? Why not? I know right now you're frustrated after this game, but there's no need to overreact. I believe in the long run, this team was built to be better, and Dave Dombrowski will make moves to help supplement this team. I trust Dave, no doubt, with my life. They'll be fine. The pitching will be fine. The bullpen will be fine. The offense will be fine. And they proved it. Well, they didn't prove anything. Well, the offense proved it today. Like I said, I got so many things going around in my mind right now. It's a lot to focus on. But, like I said, going back into the baseball mode will eventually tighten things up a little bit. So, I got basically so many things on my mind right now with this team. It's a lot of things. And today's game definitely didn't help that. Seriously, if they just won, I think that would have made today much easier. But then you got to, if they lose, all that crap happens. And then you got to you got to be the more sane one out of the bunch of everyone else on social media. And it's just weird. It's just absolutely weird. So, yeah. We do have a voicemail here on the Anytime Hotline from Sean. And you can leave yours there. The number is down below, 215-839-9885. If you want to leave your thoughts and opinions. Sean has left us a thought on this game. Let's see what he has to think.
Now, I'm going to keep this in perspective because, look, it's the first of 162. I honestly thought coming in that this was going to be a tough game to win based on our past efforts against DeGrom. But that being said, look, I can't say anything negative toward the offense I mean, they more than did their job. You gave Aaron Nola a 5-0 lead and did damage against the guy who, when healthy, is the best pitcher in baseball. But Aaron Nola tonight did Aaron Nola type things. This is what this guy does. The wheels fall off the wagon from out of nowhere, inexplicably, and usually at some point there's a home run involved. He pitches just well enough a lot of times to lose, and today was another one of those type games. I mean, just a bad loss, just a bad performance from the pitching staff all around. I mean, Gregory Soto was garbage. Connor Brogdon was garbage. Again, not going to put anything on the bats, but the pitching, which I was worried about coming into the year, has got to be better. I mean, hopefully Zack Wheeler on Saturday steps up, because it could get ugly early for the Phillies if the top two guys in the rotation don't get their act together. Because if you're relying on Taijuan Walker, Strom, and Falter to win you games, you might be in a lot of trouble to start the year.
I think you're, Sean, on the side of, like, I understand your frustration with the pitching staff. It's one game. I'm not going to be worried about Nola over the long run. Wheeler, the same thing. Yeah, I know there's like that saying that maybe you can lose yourself a season. You can't win the season in April and May, but you could possibly lose the season in April and May. But I think right now, especially you're coming off of the World Series run, those guys like, Wheeler, Aaron Nola, those were the first time those guys have even been that far. And you're probably seeing the repercussions of that. Guys are still, they're not used to that short off season. They're used to their time being on the golf course or just, relaxing during in October, having that extra month of rest before they get into the grind of spring training. So this is going to be, a building point for these guys to go through that experience, to figure it out to where, you got that experience with the World Series. And if you get back to that point to where you don't get gassed in a Game 5 of a World Series, you don't get gassed in a Game 2 of a World Series and all that stuff. To where, like I said, this is just a huge learning curve for these guys right now. It's the first time they experience stuff like this. So I think this is what we're going to be experiencing with guys like Wheeler and Nola. And they're going to figure it out, no doubt. Wheeler and Aaron Nola are they're some of the best pitchers in baseball. I'm very confident in those guys to figure it out overall. Not worried whatsoever. Today was definitely frustrating. Soto is a project for Caleb Cotham to fix like he did with Jose Alvarado. Strom was good. Bellotti was good. Brogdon is definitely going to be a question mark once again, because I do believe he did struggle during spring training. So we're going to have to figure out that entire situation, because he had moments where he was great last year. He had moments where he was bad last year. In the beginning of the postseason, he was bad. Over the rest of the stretch, he was good. So if this is who Connor Brogdon is, I have no idea. So, like I said, no need to overreact. Expectations are high for everyone. We're just going to have to see how everything plays out. No need to overreact over one game. We'll see how they bounce back on Saturday. Zack Wheeler on the mound, Nathan Eovaldi, and we'll see how everything goes from there. Get to some of you guys in the comments section. I see you guys over here in the live feed. Let's talk to some of you. Scott, I haven't talked to you in a little bit. Welcome back. Gone for 15 minutes to take a shower. What the heck did I miss? You don't need to worry about that. Let's not worry about that. Just a tough day for Phillies fans. I was just surprised to see Bohm batting low in the lineup. I think, that was definitely a shock to me, seeing Bo that low. But hey, it worked for him. It worked for him in that situation. Just opening day. Oh, yeah. BJ, I'm not worried. Not worried whatsoever. The Phillies-Yankees series is going to be good. Can't wait for that whatsoever. Julian, been a while. Very disappointing start. Don't trust Nola again. He never has back-to-back good years. First base and DH could be a blackout without Bryce. Well, I do think they're going to interchange the DH. Hall is definitely going to be a question mark. We don't know what he's going to be. And Schwarber, he always has those slow starts to the year, so I'm not worried about him. Hall was the only one who did not strike out in this game. Hall and Cave were 0 for 9. Yeah, Jake Cave is definitely going to be a question mark as well. I know he raked during spring, but we got to see, even though he did get robbed of a home run, he would have had one today if it wasn't for that stupid short porch. being able to easily jump over the fence. But that's, whole other side of the story. With Schwarber, they were over 14. They need to get starting pitching over a first baseman. Look at Nola. Okay, how long is Ranger going to be out for? Just wasn't sure. I think they said till maybe they're expecting him back at the end of April. That's basically when he goes through this whole thing in Clearwater. That's when they're expecting him to be back. So when he comes back, he's healthy. He can pitch. You're still going to have a little bit of question about the rotation depth just because of Bailey Falter as your fifth. But even right now, it's still a question mark because you don't have Ranger now. You're dealing with Bailey Falter as your fourth and Strom as your fifth. Even though Bailey Falter is going to be pitching on Sunday, it's going to be a question mark. Definitely. Like I said, it's going to be a questionable start to the year with your pitching. They're going to have to find a way. This team found a way all last year. Why not they do it again? So, long season, 162. Can't wait for all of it. It's going to be a great time. Excited for this Phillies team. Granted, today happened. We had fun in the beginning. Didn't have fun in the end. But that's, I guess, the magic of baseball. Lots of baseball on. We have an off day tomorrow. Sometimes I hate that, but maybe in this point, maybe it's better for this team. Mentally reset. But hey. And I get the comment right here. If the Flyers are going to lose, can't they at least do it in regulation? Story of my life, man. Story of my life. They're getting outshot like 55-2, and they somehow force overtime. And it's just the way it goes. But I appreciate everyone here for joining as always. Back on the journey for the 162. It's going to be back in gear. So, thank you for joining as always. Don't forget to join for future streams. I appreciate everyone that joins the live feed. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I like to see those as always. Do not forget to drop a like on the video. Do not forget to check out everything in the description. I already said that, but like I said, my brain scrambled. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join the TTP Sports family. We're getting closer and closer to 700. And once we reach that goal, we're even closer and closer to 1,000. Join the family. It'll be worth your while. Also use the code TTP Sports, $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal. Don't pass it up. Thank you everyone for joining tonight.